Why you cannot just take an exam and get your next belt in Jiu-Jitsu? What do you really need to move forward? And why that the color of the belt shows your professional journey more than your technical level? My name is Alex Os. Fala galera, welcome to the channel where I talk about Jiu-Jitsu not only as a sport but also as the way of thinking and the long journey that changed you. Today I will explain what each belt color means, how promotions really work, and why for me hardest belt not black, it's white. In this video I will also explain what you need to do to get your next belt, because it's not just about passing a test. And at the end I have something for you, so stay until the end. If you like honest talk about Jiu-Jitsu and what it really takes, subscribe the channel. So why do we need belts? The simple answer that belt keep your gi close during training process. Belt has a practical use. In the past, belts were used to hold tools or weapons, but in Jiu-Jitsu, the belt system means much more than that. It shows your progress and grows over time. It is also important to understand the belt system is different for kids and adults. For adults, the path is clear: white, blue, purple, brown, black. It usually takes many years to move from one belt to another. Belts don't change quickly. This is normal, and the time between belts is part of the journey. For kids, it is different. They have more belt colors. The child can get belt every few weeks. For the kids, there are gradation for belts: white, white with gray, gray, gray with black, yellow and white, yellow, yellow and black, orange and white, orange, orange and black, green and white, green. And in the age of 16, you can get a blue belt. Kids go home happy and show it to their parents. Parents see progress and the child feels proud. This helps kids stay motivated. For adults, motivation is different. Adults usually don't train only because of the belt color. Sometimes the hardest step is getting the white belt. First, you need to decide to start. There is also the other part of the system: stripes. Many academies use stripes on the belt. The belt is a big step, and stripes are smaller steps. Between belts, your belt color stays the same, but you improve. Maybe you learn something new, help your coach, competed well, or just train regularly. The coach sees your progress and gives you a stripe. Not all gyms use stripes, but they help show progress when you are still waiting for your next belt. And when you have 100 pupils, students, kids, adults, it helps you to see what progress your student have. Before we continue, write in the comments what belt you have right now. While you write, I will explain the philosophy behind each belt color. For me, the hardest belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is white, is not black. On average, it takes about 10 years of training to be promoted to black belt. But sometimes it takes 40 years just to put only white belt. First, you must leave the sofa, walk to the academy and decide to start. If you start training as an adult, press the like button. You know that coming to the gym for the first time takes courage. At this stage, you lose a lot. You make many mistakes. Sometimes you feel that you are not for this sport. You can be controlled or submitted by people who are lighter, younger and smaller than you. This can hurt your ego. I have seen many strong beginners lose to smaller athletes who simply understand positions and timing better. But this is where character begins to grow. You learn how to lose and still come back to training. You learn how to continue even when your confidence is low. The mental side of Jiu-Jitsu is very deep. If you want, I can make separate video of it. Write in comments. White belt, it's not about how many techniques you know. It's about the decision, start, and the decision not to quit when things become difficult. This is the stage where you face your ego, manage frustration, and build the base for everything that comes later. And of course, at white belt, you also test yourself against real opponents and feel competitive energy.
What was the hardest part of white belt for you?
For me, the hardest part in white belt was ego. I was already involved in martial arts. I studied martial arts when I was at school. So when I get to the gym, I was about to show something for the people, to be the cool guy in the room. But I didn't. I wanted to be the best, but I realized that I wasn't good enough. Then I lost all competition for the white belts. Then I realized that it wasn't about the belt. That's about mental philosophy. Blue belt. At this stage, things start to make more sense. Your coordination improves, you understand drills better, you are not only surviving rounds, you start to follow a system. You recognize positions and you know what you're trying to do. But the time you reach a blue belt, you have already passed the biggest test. You stayed, you faced your ego and accepted that you are not always in control, but you keep training. That is why blue belt, it's not only about technique, it also shows that you did not quit. At the same time, you start to understand how deep Jiu-Jitsu really is. The more you learn, the more you see how much you still don't know. Blue belt, where discipline becomes important. The people who stay are ready for long-term work. Progress now comes from consistency. You train regularly and repeat techniques many times. This is how skill grows.
Was there a moment when you beat a stronger opponent because of technique?
Nowadays, I can go to gym and choose any partner and try to do my best. So if I would like to beat someone bigger than me, I can choose big white belt and try my best technique or try my worst technique to see that it works. Yes, sometimes we're doing this. Purple belt. Purple belt is the stage where you start developing your own style. You stop only repeating techniques and start adapting them to your body and your way of thinking. You begin to develop favorite combinations and strong positions. Instead of only reacting your opponent, you guide them into positions that work better for you. Confidence grows at purple belt. You understand why something worked and why it didn't. When you make a mistake, you can analyze it. Your decisions become better and your game begins to show your personality. At this level, Jiu-Jitsu becomes more attentional. It is not physical anymore. You are not lost during the fight. You start controlling the situation. The next belt is brown belt. Brown belt is the stage of the moment when I understand I am right here and right now. For me, it's about patience and resilience. At this level, you can teach others, explain details, and sometimes even run training sessions. But you also continue improving your own game. Now the focus is not on learning many techniques. The focus is on doing technique better. I started paying attention small details like body angle, pressure and timing. Small changes can make a big difference. This stage feels like preparation for the next step, where maturity is just as important as technique.
What details did you start noticing only at this level?
I began separate myself from the situations that were happening and started look at them, evaluate them, and only then make a decision. Jiu-Jitsu has a psychological character. For me, it could be useful as a psychology session because I began realize I have only a moment in which I live. I couldn't change my past. I cannot predict my future, so I have to be here and now. Black belt. Many people think that the black belt is the final stage, but it's not really the end. In many ways, it's a new beginning. It is preparation for something even further, like the coral belt, which many people don't know about. For me, black belt is not a finish line, it's a reset for beginning. At the big competition, you can see 7,000 competitors. Around 2,000 can be a black belt, and it's only one event. This shows that black belt doesn't mean you know everything. It means that you start to understand something, how deep Jiu-Jitsu is. At black belt, you see Jiu-Jitsu as a full system. You understand the principles and how everything connects. Black belt, it's not only about status, it's also about responsibility. It means helping others learn and being an example inside and outside the gym.
How do you choose a good coach that you can trust?
You can trust your kids for the coach if you see that he not the show, he translate what inside. He have some rules, some principles, he looks good, he's had a good haircut, watching for his outfit, he has a family, he's doing something except of jiu-jitsu, some hobbies, maybe fishing, basketball, not only like jiu-jitsu.
So, how do you earn a belt?
With any belt, you will never know when you receive the belt. It should be like a surprise. It should be like, wow, Yeah, really? Okay. I was ready about this, but I forget about this and I'm still in the game. The good coach have to feel this moment. He sees the person who training daily and who has some potential in this. Sometimes coach doing this to save the person on the train, or sometimes to give him motivation. Not for many years. You just achieve all achievements in blue belt. I want you to feel this moment, and because I see that you like Jiu-Jitsu, and that's how coach have to decide when he promotes someone. As I promised, here are giveaway rules. Write in the comments which belt was the hardest for you and why. Was there a moment when you wanted to quit but decided to stay? Share your story. The comment with the more likes will win. The winner will receive the belt from my brand. You can choose each color. If you want to learn more about the philosophy of Jiu-Jitsu and specific techniques, I will talk about them in my videos. My name is Alex Os. Subscribe the channel and see you next time.